So let's talk first of all about this Reedy Creek stuff, right? In 1967, so long before DeSantis was governor, the Florida state legislature worked with Walt Disney World Company to create a special taxing district. So that's what he's inviting, or in fact, commanding, in directing the legislature to look into. He's saying, consider whether we want to revoke these privileges. But what are the privileges? So if you go on the Reedy Creek district website, I'm just going to read to you the list that they have of things that Disney is allowed to do, because when they came over to create Disney World, right, it was a potential driver of a lot of revenue, a lot of tourism. And so the Florida government thought this would be a good thing to invite Disney in and give them all sorts of privileges, right? So they have 134 miles of roadway and 67 miles of waterways to be built and maintained, 250,000 daily guests, 6 to 8 minute response time from fire department and EMS, 60,000 tons of waste managed, 30 tons of aluminum, paper, steel cans, cardboard, and plastic containers recycled every year, 90,000 analyses conducted to make sure the water quality meets or exceeds states and national standards, 2,000 vendor suppliers and contractors used to provide high-level public services for visitors. So this is their advertisement, right, of themselves as basically a little tiny autonomous community that is run with its own county government that was given to them, again, so that they could do their own thing and basically create this little mini empire within Florida. And the idea was it would drive revenue and so on and so forth. Now, this is the kind of thing that not too long ago, the left would have gone berserk over. Their heads would have been exploding if they had any principles, which currently the left really does not. And so you're not going to hear them, getting all up in arms about this for the simple reason that they're interested in basically covering the interests of the LGBTQIA++ lobby and, sort of ginning up outrage and disgust over the evil Ron DeSantis. But let me read to you from a book by this guy, Rick Fogelsong. Again, before any of this came up, he wrote a book called Married to the Mouse about what this really means, that Disney has its own little fiefdom within Florida. Fogelsong writes, on the cost side, Disney World has generated traffic congestion, public facility deficits, affordable housing shortages, and a low-wage economy. These problems frequently accompany urban growth, but there is a complicating factor in the Disney Orlando case. For the Disney company got something special in coming to Florida, their own private government, a sort of Vatican with mouse ears. So this is like, how the Vatican in Rome is kind of its own separate government, right? A Vatican with mouse ears, with powers and immunities that exceeded nearby Orlando's. The entertainment titan was authorized, among other things, to regulate land use, provide police and fire services, build roads, lay sewer lines, license the manufacture and sale of alcoholic beverages, even to build an airport and a nuclear power plant. More, the Disney company never built and never planned to build the Epcot residential community that in their presentation to Florida lawmakers was the reason for their governmental powers in the first place. They wanted the powers of government, but not real residents who could challenge their managerial prerogatives. Told here for the first time is a nevertheless old Florida story of a big company that makes big promises to get concessions from government, then fails to keep its word. Now, it used to be the left that was wary, right, of big business and big business having influence over government. Now, of course, all the big businesses have been captured by woke interests. Not only Disney, but Twitter, Facebook, all the big tech companies. All these major CEOs have had to bend the knee to this new sort of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion mantra. And so the left has completely fallen asleep on this. And it's the right that's starting to say, well, hold on, right? If you get your own mini government, right, and you ought to be, therefore, acting in the interests of the people. We brought you in here because we thought that you would benefit our state. And now we discover that actually you have an agenda that's totally against what parents in our state want, right? People in Florida and all over America during COVID saw what was going on in public schools and in children's education, and they freaked out because rightly so, they were looking at things that were coming out of, libs on TikTok and all kinds of reports that were emerging from public schools on our dime. Teachers saying to kids, boys can be girls. You place yourself along a spectrum, right? Look at the gender snow person. These are real things that are being taught in schools. And Disney has basically made clear that they are on the side of that agenda. And if that's the case, right, then why are we giving them their own fiefdom? Why are we turning them into this kind of papal carve out, right? Now, the reason I want to talk about this is because